Can my adoptive child become a U.S. citizen? Friends, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting, hoping you solve your immigration problem and maybe even prevent it from happening in the first place. Typically, when we get calls about this to help people out, it's that they're about to age out, okay? Be aging out in the sense that they can't become a U.S. citizen anymore. So I'm going to bring up some information on the USCIS website. Okay, this is Child Citizenship Act of 2000. It's a long time ago. And unfortunately, or the one good thing is that Congress was trying to do was to help people become a US citizen, make it less painful. But unfortunately, it did not solve the problem for some folks, okay? It did not. I believe this is the last law in terms of through Congress that was passed. Three main things you need to know about adopting a child. I'm not going to go into the detail, but like what it looks like in that particular country. That's very detailed, but related to USCIS. The first thing is adoption in that country or even in the US has to have happened before, or the first adoption process has to have happened before 16 years old. Somehow I've heard about people who the intended child, right, to be adopted came in the United States with a visitor visa. That's not the proper way. It may be possible, but when you do that, then people forget to do the next step. And that's the formal adoption process, which if for some reason the child did come in the US with a visitor visa, you still can go to the state, your particular state where you live for adoption, but that has to have been before 16 years old. Okay, so but for most people, they do the adoption in that country of the child. Okay, so in that scenario, that's okay before 16. The second issue, main issue people forget is that aging out. When does age out situation happen? Right? Let's say you did step number one, okay, the big step number one, to do the adoption. But when do you need to make sure you file this application to make sure that your child that you adopted is basically an automatic citizen? Okay, so that's what we call it, child being able to automatically acquire citizenship after not just birth, but after adoption. Okay, and that is 18 years old. So we have some folks, it's similar to really any kind of case that people have, and there's a certain deadline. That's why we call people. We do the courtesy to call people, we do the courtesy to email people. And I hate to say, sometimes like crickets, we feel bad for people. Like, if you don't, whether you hire our team or someone else, we don't mind. It's our pleasure to assist you. But as a courtesy, even if someone didn't sign up with us, we try our best to remember to certain things like this. Obviously, if it's like 5 years later, where a child's going to be turn 18 in 5 years from now, we're not going to have that follow-up. But if it's like 17, then we do have a system where we're like, okay, we need to contact this person. So like I mentioned the past couple of days, you really need to set a calendar reminder of things when to take the next action. Now, get it, if you never spoke with a lawyer on when to know these dates, then sure, you wouldn't know when to put a calendar. So that's thing before that is you need to talk to a lawyer. And being on a live show like this might be just the first thing, but you really need to have like a one-on-one consultation just so you make sure you know the process. And then at that point, for sure, there's no excuses. You need to put on your calendar. Again, whether you hire a law firm or not, you just have to put on your calendar so you don't forget. This is related to the Child Citizenship Act of 2000. Congress thought that they covered everyone in the past, but unfortunately, it shows here that according to INA 320, a child born outside the United States automatically becomes a U.S. citizen when all the following conditions have been met on or after February 27, 2001. That's where I guess you could say there was a cutoff date, because people that didn't get those conditions completed before February 27, 2001, it didn't help those people. There's a bunch of people I know from that were born it's just very unfortunate. The law should have changed to help those folks. So there are, of course, other requirements here on the USCIS website. It's definitely a concern that you should know, but those are the two main ones. And then the other one is people that ask the common question about adoption is, hey, if I've been adopted by someone else and it all worked out for me and I got my legal status, You had a green card and then I become a citizen. Can I turn around and petition or sponsor my biological parent or parents? No, unfortunately. It does not include that. It basically cuts it off. So for those conservative folks that did not know, there actually is in the law that it cuts it off. But of course, conservatives always think, there's always what they call chain migration. Yeah, there's a cutoff. So unfortunately, I guess you could say, unfortunately for the adoptive child, you can't turn around to sponsor your parents. So parents, if you are in a situation, biological parents, if you didn't know that, this is good for you to know. Like, hopefully you don't assume that your child that's about to be adopted, maybe by your own sibling, so their uncle or aunt, or even your own parents, a grandparent, your child can't turn around and sponsor you. So that's very important for you to know. All right, folks, thank you so much. And y'all have a wonderful day. Take care.